Awesome. Hello, John.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. So this trading happened over the weekend, correct?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, you guys, I'm ready when you are. Alex, he says he needs about a minute.
Okay. How's your life going?
It's all good. I was, you're a guy that does numbers. I was just remarking during the program about how hysterical the coverage was of both Hurricane Barry, that turned out to be not much, comparatively speaking, and the doomsday heat wave that was unprecedented and almost set records. So how can it be unprecedented and be almost record setting?
Right.
And the answer is, of course, it can't. It's just panic all the time.
I guess it fits in with the global warming stuff or whatever, or just trying to get people to listen to the news.
Isn't it awesome, though, to know that, global warming can be solved with a tax increase? That's all it'll take.
I'm sure they'll find something to spend the money on.
Of that, I haven't any doubt.
Yeah.
They're just making an adjustment to a setting here, so we will be ready momentarily. Okay. Okay. 10 seconds.
Ready? Just we're coming in now.
Welcome back to the conversation. This past weekend, hundreds of teachers in more than 40 states had the opportunity to be trained with firearms. Yeah, firearms, believe it or not. Trained with firearms across this country. And for some, they think this is absolutely the worst possible thing. But for those that believe that these mass shootings can be stopped in their tracks or prevented altogether, this is a step in the right direction. Joining me now is Dr. John Lott from the Crime Prevention Research Center. You can find out more at crimeresearch.org. Doctor, welcome back to the program.
Great to talk to you.
Always good to have you here. So these programs are a step in the right direction. For some, others, of course, decry them as being, more violence, more guns, and so on and so forth. What do you make of this? This is a trend in some states where more teachers are being armed. More teachers are being armed secretly, so students don't know who has firearms and who doesn't. Do you think this can work?
Well, we have 20 states right now that to varying degrees have teachers carrying guns concealed. People don't know whether the teachers are carrying any more than people know whether people at the grocery store or at the mall or at the restaurant are carrying permanently concealed handguns. We have about 18 million Americans with permanently concealed handguns. Outside of New York and California, you're talking about 9% of the adult population, and my guess is Most people in the country go to restaurants or these other places and have no clue whether somebody nearby them is carrying or not, and it's probably extremely likely that they are. And there's no more reason that anybody else at the school is going to know that a teacher is carrying a permanent concealed handgun than they do whether somebody at the restaurant has it. And what we just recently put together a study looking at all the school shootings in the United States for over the 19 years from 2000 through 2018 to answer a couple basic questions. One was to look at the states which have teachers carrying to see whether there's any types of problems that might arise. You know, do students get a hold of the guns? Do teachers accidentally shoot somebody? And what you find is that none of those fears have come to pass. Not a single time has either of those two types of incidences happened. And then the other question we asked was, might there be deterrence? Do you see school shootings, not just the mass public school shootings, but any type of school shooting,
Right.
any type of attack in schools that allow teachers to carry? And during school hours or anything close to school hours where teachers are carrying, you just don't see any of those types of attacks where people are attacking others.
Yeah, I'm looking at your research here, and I'm surprised, I'm going to be honest with you, because between 2000 and 2018, you documented 306 cases of gunshots on school property, 48 of which were suicides. So not counting suicides, 193 people died, 267 were injured in these incidents. 4 cases were incidents of accidental gunshots by police officers. But, based on the media, even I'm surprised that these numbers aren't many times this, because listening to the media, you would think that you just have shootings all the time and mass shootings all the time. But based on these numbers, that clearly is not the case.
Right. I mean, obviously the mass shootings get a lot of attention, but shootings in general, even if one person is wounded or killed, are very rare. I mean, we included all cases where any gun was fired on school property, whether or not somebody was injured or not. And, as you say, 306 cases over 19 years isn't a huge number of cases. And a lot of those, nobody's hurt.
But in fairness, you do point out that the rate of school shootings, the number of people killed by them, has increased significantly
Right.
since the year 2000. The annual death rate from 2009 until 2018, double that
Correct.
of the period of 2001 to 2008, which is obviously a concerning trend, but the number's still not as big as you'd be led to believe. But it is concerning, is it not?
Sure. I mean, you'd much rather have these things falling over time than increasing, even if it is small. What I can say is that the entire increase has occurred in those schools where teachers aren't allowed to carry. It's been zero, flat, over the entire period of time in the schools in the states that allow teachers to be able to go and carry to protect others. That you just don't see attacks occurring in those places during school hours when teachers are allowed to carry.
Sure. And I look at some states, Utah, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, parts of Oregon, they allow permitted teachers and staff to carry without any additional training requirements. But this training program, these training programs, are trying to help teachers to be, better prepared with their firearms, for lack of a better term. Is that right?
Right. Well, I mean, Utah requires that you have to have training to get a concealed carry permit, but there's no additional training that's required to be able to go and carry concealed on school property for a teacher. New Hampshire has required training to get a permit. Rhode Island, their program just ended last fall. The governor, even though there had been no problems with the program, the governor ended it there. But, you have a range of states. Texas has over 300 school districts as of the end of last year that had teachers carrying. Ohio, it's something like 250 school districts that do it. Oklahoma is about the same number. So you have a lot of experience in a lot of states over many years to be able to draw from. So people can go and speculate about what things that might possibly go wrong, but that's not the same thing as, as actually being. We don't need to guess. We can go and actually look, and the concerns that are raised just simply haven't been occurring at all, and there's evidence that there may even be benefits in terms of deterrence.
It's interesting that in your research you find that no student has ever gotten a hold of a teacher's gun, nor has a teacher legally carrying a gun ever accidentally shot someone. But those are the things that are still put out by the opponents, red herrings, if you will. But it's always been that way. When people talk about concealed carry, they say, well, there's going to be gunfights in the street. All these terrible things are going to happen. None of these things ever come to pass, do they?
Right. Well, as we have more experience, as you have more states that have these laws, it's going to be harder for people to go and make those types of scare stories about things that might possibly go wrong. So much of the gun control debate, as you say, in many different areas, is about things that might possibly go wrong. And is it possible that those things might happen? Sure. But what you find is that concealed carry permit holders are incredibly law-abiding. They're very responsible. And the types of concerns that people raise just haven't occurred. We saw the same thing, as you say, with the concealed carry debate. But as more states adopted the laws, it became harder and harder to go and make those types of, claims about things. I mean, you look at it, permit holders are incredibly law-abiding. They lose their permits for any type of firearms-related violation, even very trivial ones, such as not having their permit with them accidentally, at thousands or tens of thousands of 1 percentage point. It's pretty hard to think of almost any other group that's as law-abiding as those individuals are. In fact, police are rarely convicted of firearms-related violations, and permit holders are even a low rate.
Get the facts. Don't get emotional. Get the facts with Dr. John Lott. CrimeResearch.org, the place to be. CrimeResearch.org. We'll be right back.
Thank you.